colleague Joke Adisa brings us the Lawmaker of the Week.
With me on the interview segment this week is Right Honorable Doguwa, the Chief Whip of the House. They represent Doguwa, Chodolwada Federal Constituency of Kano State. Will be talking to us on issues relating to the National Assembly and Nigeria's politics. You are welcome, sir, to the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being with you this time around.
What many had expected will happen in the National Assembly upon resumption. I also do know that as a principal officer, you should be able to tell us why the Speaker has not formally announced his defection from the APC on the floor as required by your rules.
This is an interesting question, but I think it's one question that would best be answered by the Speaker himself. But if I must have to respond to these questions, I want to say clearly that none of our rules even requires anyone to announce on the floor that he has defected. There is no provision in our rules that says, oh yes, you must have to announce on the floor of the House. You know, some of these things, to be candid, there are a lot of things that I think that are very funny. Some of the rules we have, and perhaps some of them in the Constitution, some of them in the standing rules of the House or the Senate, as the case might be. I call them funny because some of these things, some of these provisions of our rules within and even by extension in the Constitution, Joke, I want to be very candid with you, a lot of protection for things that are even not morally right. I have to say this with all sense of responsibility. And whether you like it or not, since this is a system that you operate with set down rules, set rules, this is democracy. And for you to operate democracy is like a game with rules, set rules. So whether such rules are right or wrong, as long as rules have not made any provision as to what you do in a particular circumstances, then you are covered by such rules.
Let me cut in there. I also do know that party guidelines, party laws,
yes,
requires that you do that. Once you leave a party, you should, through the chairman of the ward, announce.
Yes.
But of course, we've seen a number of your colleagues on the floor of the House. So on what rules do they do that when you see the Speaker read?
You know, members that want to have their defection announced on the floor, they are merely being political. You just want to be political. It's not because you have the provision in our rules that you have to do that. And what is required by someone to be a bona fide member of a political party is, one, ab initio, he becomes a member of that political party by registration at his own relevant political platform, maybe at a ward level or even at the polling unit level. When you have chapters, political chapters, we have what we call political chapters. After the ward, you have unit, political party units where members can get themselves registered. But formally, you are expected to register at the ward level. So when you now see members coming to announce their defection or joining of one political party or leaving the other on the floor of the House, they are, for me, just trying to be political, to create that kind of noise, to create that kind of impression, oh, I have left my party, joining another party. But no one says it's mandatory political party.
I've spoken to a number of your colleagues from the APC,
yes,
and they have said that they are not aware yet that is because he has not declared on the floor.
For him not to even declare on the floor, for me, as a true APC person, is even an advantage. An advantage because the crisis of defection, this issue of defection as it is today, it has gone too bad against our own political party. We have lost a lot of number of our good members. And for that reason, I think it's even an advantage to us as an APC caucus that he does not announce. And we will quietly as well continue to count him as a member of the APC, even though he has defected.
The presidential election, of course, will be a two-horse race between the APC and the PDP. Yes. So, looking at the person of the former vice president and our president now, you are still confident.
It's not about being confident. I want to confirm to you that every well-meaning APC person and every well-meaning Nigerian voter who would want to vote for Nigeria's prosperity will have no cause whatsoever to even compare the person of Atiku Abubakar and the wholesome party as person of Muhammadu Buhari. They are two distinct human beings. And for the circumstances we found ourselves in Nigeria, as long as we want to renew and rejuvenate our economy, as long as we want to provide a kind of a reliable political and economic well-being for our people, then you just cannot have any contemplation between the person of Muhammadu Buhari and the person of Atiku Abubakar. They are uncomparable.
The national chairman is in the eye of the storm. Would also that also make some negative impact? For
every action, there is a reaction. One cannot rule out completely that as a result of some of these outcries, as a result of the primaries, that you don't have some negative effects that maybe came up as a result of this, some of the problems we had in some states. But these are issues for me that are very negligible and do not have that kind of weighty impact so as to even impact negatively on the outcome of the chances of the APC. Let's
go back to the National Assembly, the Electoral Act. Yes. Why did the House have to rescind its adoption of 26 clauses before now going into what Senate already did to pass the Electoral Act?
For my understanding, you see, we always want to be in a bicameral legislature. We always want to avoid controversy or issues where the Senate will toe one line and we toe the other line. As an institution, we always want to work together, except where it becomes necessarily unavoidable. Then in such cases where there are issues to do with principles or there are issues to do with commitment or allegiances to our own political parties, of course, we cannot avoid such kind of dichotomy. But under normal circumstances, we always want to operate on one page. And if you look at the Electoral Act as amended by the National Assembly today, you see the last amendment we had taken, the sixth amendment which we had taken, generally came as a result of some observations given by Mr. President. And for as long as the Senate, that is even been seen to be more antagonistic to the government, had now responded positively to most of the observations Mr. President has raised, especially issues to do with the presentation, submission of names of list of candidates by political parties, the timeline that was not earlier provided for, it is now provided for, issues to do with making provision for the use of the card reader and any technological device to be captured in the constitutions, and some of the issues raised by Mr. President, some of them were even typographical. So they were not too sensitive that would have warranted any agitation or counter-agitation between the National Assembly as an institution and the executive arm of government. Some of these observations made by the President were genuine observations.
How optimistic are we now that this time the President will sign the bill?
I think I'm confident, Mr. President, having taken most of the observations he had submitted. I'm very much confident that Mr. President will be disposed to assenting to the last amendment that we have passed by the National Assembly.
On the very last note, why did you say the Speaker will not be impeached?
It was not as if I was happy that the Speaker defected out of my party. I didn't like it. And I have to repeat, I did not like it. It offended me because I'm a true APC person. But when you now say, oh, impeach the Speaker on the basis of defection to the PDP, that is non-issue because none of our rules covered that. By defecting from the APC, he has not offended any of our provisions of the standing rules of the House of Representatives. So as long as Dogara continues to operate as a neutral person, giving us all the protection we need as a majority party, we lose nothing by his defection. And we can only create trouble, and there can only be trouble. Let me be very clear with you. There can only be trouble if he, as the Speaker, now decides to be too partisan, undermine policies of government, undermine the President, Muhammadu Buhari, who is our leader, the leader of the country at the moment, and the leader of our own political party, or begin to now expose our political party to unnecessary dangers or unnecessary partisan issues. That is when the APC caucus will rise against the Speaker. For as long as he continues supporting the institution itself, also supporting what needs to be supported for the government, and at the end for the general interest of Nigerians, then we don't have anything to lose. If he defects, if he likes, he defects 100 times. We don't lose anything.
Thank you very much, sir. On that note, we have come to the end of the interview segment this week. Thank you, sir, for coming on to the program. We'll see you again next time.